Welcome, welcome everybody. We are live. We didn't do the couple seconds, so I want to give it a minute or two to make sure that we are live on 3 platforms. We should be live inside our Facebook group, inside YouTube, and then LinkedIn. And I want to make sure we are live on LinkedIn because we had some issues last time. We are live. Welcome, welcome everybody. So excited for this beautiful day. I don't know how many of you are tuning in or how many of you are watching the inauguration. Today is Women Wednesday. I want to really say before we get started, it is a special day. We are turning the page forward, right? This is a day we celebrate democracy, a smooth transition of power in America, because we as Americans will not stand for it any other way. And if you're watching it, you certainly might have heard this beautiful poem by this wonderful young lady named Amanda Gorman, who made me emotional. So I wasn't emotional coming into today, and suddenly I'm really emotional. So I just want to say congratulations to the 46th President of the United States, President Joe Biden, and our new Vice President, Kamala Harris. These steps are meaningful. Who we are if we're not fighters, right? Who are we if we're not fighting for justice, and most importantly, unity of all. So thank you, Mr. President, for all of the wonderful inspiration of unity and for doing such a kind act this morning by bringing both parties together into a service of church and God and connection. And I thought that was truly, truly beautiful. But this is Women Wednesday, so I am blessed. I feel this day is so monumental to all of us. I am very emotional, so please forgive me. It is just a very emotional day. I think this is a great day for all of us. But it is Women Wednesday, and this is Women Wednesday for United Latinas. And for those of you who are not familiar with United Latinas, we are an organization created to connect and unite Latinas and help to put more underserved women in leadership positions. So I welcome you to join us. Please follow our LinkedIn company page. Please follow our Facebook page. And of course, we have Instagram. But, but I am so excited for today. So today, we are Women Wednesday guests. And actually, let me backtrack a little bit for those of you that don't know me, because this is the first time I think we're going live on LinkedIn from the very beginning. Last time there was a mishap. My name is Sandra Rocio Perez. I am a marketing and business strategist. I have been in the industry for 20 plus years in many different avenues of it. Actually, I ran marketing department, so every avenue of it. But I am a advocate for our unity and an advocate for tapping into our own human potential and really understanding what makes us us, right? What really makes us us, and what is unknown, what is science discovering about who we are and what we really can create and manifest in this life, and what are we responsible for? So these are things that are very important to me. And I think we tend to connect with and unite with like-minded people, right? People that are have a vision, have a mission in this life. And today's guest, I am so excited to bring back, because we had her once before on Women Wednesday, but today we have Rocio Perez again, because she has launched a new book, and we are going to help her celebrate. So I am going to bring on Rocio. Welcome. I can't hear you.
Much. Thank you, Sandra. It's such a pleasure to be here with you always. I'm super, super excited. We're talking about ripple effects today and how it helps, how daily practices. I mean, I love your work, right? Because you talk about how do we move, how do we touch, move, and inspire people? How do we help them tap into their fullest potential? And that is what ripple effects is about. We're right now in the pre-sales portion of it, and we're so excited. These are daily practices that any one of us can do to continue to enhance who we are and to get to where we want to be. Everything is a process. Success is a process. And by the way, so is failure, right? We fail to make the phone call. We fail to do this. And how do we build ourselves? The most important thing, how do I do what is important for me to do, because who I am now is not who it's going to take to be that person that achieves the goal that I want to achieve. I always say that we're always in the process of becoming even more extraordinary, or even owning our own gifts. And that is what ripple effects is, the ripple effects that we have through who we are being, how we see the world, and how the world sees us. And I've said a mouthful right there.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I think we don't really think that through all the time, right? How our actions really impact our life and our surroundings in every single minute way. It is just so powerful. That's why we have to like hone in and really own our sense of self, understand our power, what ticks us, what moves us, what drives us, and then extend that compassion out to others. So yes, I love this title. I love this vision, is how our impact really does ripple out to others.
And it does. And that's the beauty of it. When we start to see what are the ripples of my impact, even if I was to be grateful, a lot of us don't think about gratitude when we wake up in the morning. I remember many, many years ago, waking up in the morning and having that conversation with myself and saying, hey, what am I grateful for? Just even to think about the abundance that I have, the nice sheets that I wake up in, right? The cover that covered me at night, even just being grateful for my family. Remember, after losing my father many years ago, I was on an airplane and a gentleman said, hey, I'm really upset at my 16-year-old son, and he's not grateful for anything. And I'm thinking, wow, maybe you may consider being grateful for the opportunity to have dirty dishes, right? That means you have a son, right? You have somebody that's home there with you that you really love and care about. And sometimes even forgetting about the dirty room, because most teens are like that, right? It's just part of life, part of our own process of growing up and evolution. To even look at what holds us back, what holds me back. This is what ripple effects is. What is the ripple effects of forgiveness? And most importantly, to forgive ourselves through the process. So ripple effects walks us through 12 different chapters, from who I'm choosing to be to who I choose to intentionally share my intentional acts of kindness. What would it look like if I were to be intentional with someone? Let's say that I choose one person in this world that I'm intentionally sending gifts or making comments that make them feel better. And it really starts to feed my soul, as I've seen it throughout the years, seeing individuals take those moments and really become who they were meant to be in this world.
Yeah, I love this conversation because people are listening or people are watching, whether they're watching this live, let us know in the comments, wherever you're watching us from, or whether you're watching the replay. I think we live our lives, many of us, just like internally self-reflecting, and how do our actions impact our lives around us? Share a little bit about kind of how you see that, how our lives really impact in all avenues, right? Whether we're having a bad day, that trickles to somebody else, and we start that chain of maybe negative emotions. So understanding that we have to understand what ticks us and what drives our emotions, so that we can make sure that we are putting good energy out in the world, and positive conversations to be had. What are your
I
thoughts on?
love it. I love the questions. First and foremost, I think about it. Let's think about, we've all been small children, or we've all been around a small child, right? Uh, None of us escape that. And looking at that, here's little Johnny. This is my example when being in education. Little Johnny wakes up in the morning and he's panicking because mom's like, get up right now. You're late again to school. And little Johnny's panicking. He's like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Where's my homework? I don't know. And mom's saying, hey, you're up late again. Well, she got up late too, right? So when we look at that impact, so little Johnny panics, he's freaking out, he doesn't know what to do, and now you're not going to get breakfast. He doesn't take his homework with him, his shoes are backwards, his socks are a different color, he makes it to school, he's hungry, he can't concentrate, he gets in trouble in school. Plain and simple. Little Johnny, he's not nourished properly. Where's your homework? Doesn't have his homework, ends up in the corner, right? And wait, he has a bad day, right? Now he's trying to play catch up. He doesn't know what to do. And teacher calls mom. and says, little Johnny wasn't focused. He didn't have his homework again. Again, he was late to class. He wasn't focused. He wasn't paying attention. He wasn't participating. And then little Johnny gets home, and the first thing that he sees is mom right there. And now you're in trouble. Your teacher called me yet again this week that you were late, that you didn't have your homework ready, that this, that, and the other. But really, who is the one who created that, right? That's a ripple, right? When we see that ripple of our impact, we can see it in a small child. That impact of who we were being as well has a ripple. And to take a look at, well, let's take another situation. And I remember sharing that with parents for so many years. I, being a parent too, it was easy. Okay, we're late, we're up late. There's a million things going on. And I remember when my son would I wanted to create something new. And when we would get up late, sometimes I'd travel. Every week I was traveling, not sometimes. And so every Thursday I would leave a city at whatever time, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and I wouldn't get home until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, guess what? We need to be heading to school by 7:30 in the morning. And some days it was late, and I would get up, and I'm like, okay, we're late. How do I make this transition even easier on my son? Son, good morning. How are you? I hope you're having a great day. Today we're running a little late. I'm going to have breakfast. We're going to have breakfast in the car. I'll meet you in the car while I get this ready. And then I would just turn around and say, have a great day. And I knew that he would have a great day because it was who I was being was going to have a ripple impact. Whether it's positive or negative, there are ripple impacts in everything, anything and everything that we do. And sometimes it's the impact of not having the conversation. Sometimes it's the impact of what we're doing. Maybe we're in business. I mean, both of us being entrepreneurs, how do we keep ourselves motivated? Me, it's through a process of anchoring, meditating, taking care of myself early in the morning, and just really getting myself grounded. And I know that there's a ripple of my impact when I'm grounded. Whoo, like I am flying through the world. Like everybody's touched, moved, inspired, excited. And they're like, oh, people are calling me and like, Rocio, I need your energy. Like share it with me. And there are days, and like, I'll be the first to admit it. There are days it's like, who is this woman? What did you do with my Rocio? And she's not happy today. So how do I take that to a completely different level where I can be happy, where I can be connected, where I can be, to know that the ripples of my impact don't just impact me. It impacts every person that I touch and every person that they touch as well. So how do I bring it back home to understand that I'm here now, that everything that I do, no matter what it is, has an impact?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how does it impact? Like, so when you're having a bad day, which maybe, you wake up and what is that? You stub your toe or something. Like for me, I have trained myself to where I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking positive thoughts. Even if the first thought is negative, I say to myself, that's a negative thought. Let's switch that and let's catch that. But you have to be aware enough to catch that. And I'm hoping like we're all training ourselves to make sure that we are catching ourselves, even a general thought that we may not feel wholeheartedly it's negative, but it's negative unless it's positive, like in my opinion. So we have to catch ourselves. But how do you feel is the best way for people to kind of do that process? Like catch themselves from putting on others the baggage that they're just feeling, or that muck that they're just feeling on themselves.
And it's the first 20 minutes of our day. That's when we wake up. We're the most susceptible to anything, whether we go positive or negative. That really depends on us and what we put into ourselves. One of the ways that we can do it is through gratitude. How do we express gratitude in every single day, every morning, when we can start focusing? Whatever we focus on will expand. And that's really what it looks like from that perspective. When we are asking ourselves continuously, like, what's good about this? What am I grateful for? How do I wake up right here, right now, every moment of the day? How can I put that in for myself? Another way that I do it is through forgiveness. There's a million things that I can forgive myself for. There's a million things that are important for me to forgive others for, and to really think that forgiveness only serves one person. That's ourselves. right? When I can wake up in the morning, and I've done this for many, many years, journaling, the whole journaling process. As a matter of fact, we have a whole book that's coming out, a whole game that's coming out on that. How do we transform? In the meantime, with Ripple Effects does that as well. Ripple Effects is helping people to take one chapter, whatever chapter you choose. Our idea is that you take one chapter per month. That's it. You focus just on one chapter every single day, that in time you start to develop a pattern. We all develop patterns throughout time. And a pattern is much more stronger than any habit. Habits can be broken at any time because sometimes, life just happens, right? We lose a loved one, we get laid off of a job, a life-changing moment happens, and we're no longer into it. Something that's an autopilot is definitely a pattern, something that we go into we're going to do it no matter what. And that's what's important about making sure that we can wake up. So 2 things that I can look at is 1, gratitude. The other thing is forgiveness, and maybe even putting in the intentional acts of kindness. What if you were to be intentional every single day in every single way? What if I wake up in the morning and say, hey, whose life can I make better? There's something fascinating, Sandra, and I know in your work you definitely model this, that the subconscious mind does not understand if it's something that we're doing for another or we're doing for ourselves. Just the mere act that we're acknowledging someone else, it's like we're acknowledging ourselves. Sometimes we're missing that acknowledgement in ourselves. When we're looking, I can sit in front of someone and have a conversation with them, and then all of a sudden they start lighting up when I'm acknowledging them. I could have had that conversation with them to build rapport and connect with them for the next year. Yet 2 minutes of acknowledgement, of focused acknowledgement on another human being completely transforms their life. It changes who they are being. It changes who I am being. And it changes the course of life and humanity, right? For that moment, for that person has a ripple. I have a ripple. We all have ripples of our impact. And knowing that everything is different because of that.
I love that so, so much. And I want to kind of talk about on that, acknowledging what we consider mean people, right? Because how we react to somebody who may be having a bad day and may react in a manner that's probably outside of their own, we don't know. We initially just kind of like, oh, that person's mean. That person's like wrong and mean and just a bad person, but we don't know what happened in their day. We don't know what baggage that they're carrying. And how can we use our ripple effect to help that person, as opposed to reacting to that energy, but really take that energy and kind of convert it to something good? How do you think we should go about doing that?
Well, it's so important to really stay present to what other people may be going through and what they may not see in themselves, because we're in our own bodies, right? I'm in my own body. A perfect example. The other day, I was not feeling it, okay? I didn't know if I was going to make it through the day to have all my meetings. At midnight, I was taking NyQuil and cough medicine and all these things. It's just, I wasn't feeling well. And the very next day, I got on a call, and I wasn't a happy camper. It was with my cell phone company. They couldn't figure out how to get my payment on board. I'm like, okay, you are a global company, and you can't get it on there. Like, and I wasn't feeling well, right? What can we do in those moments to bring that person to present? Here's 2 places where I've seen it apply in my life. One, learning it from Dr. Stephen R. Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That when a gentleman was on a train and he had 3 kids that were completely out of control, and he turned around and he said, well, why are your kids under control? Do something about it, something to that effect. And the guy's like, well, they just lost their mother. They don't know how to act. And neither do I. When we can really take that into heart, to understand that we don't know what's going on in somebody's life. We don't know what's happening. That's how I've raised my son, to understand that maybe somebody that's going through road rage, somebody who's being mean or offensive or whatever, there's something else going on with them, that it has nothing to do with ourselves. Because normally when we're reacting, so we're going to get 2 things. The thing that distinguishes us from this beautiful horse right here, and I'm like, I have one of the cards for our game, the horse, or even having the lion The only thing that distinguishes us from them is our ability to think, our ability to respond. They have lungs, we have lungs, right? They have all the body parts that we do. They function the same, right? They take care of their young, they do all of that. Yet our ability to be able to respond is the only thing that differentiates us from them. That's where 100% responsibility, that I take responsibility even in the presence of another when they're not around. As a matter of fact, I was online recently and somebody that I met for the very first time, they're like, well, I'm not going to do business with you. And this is that. Great. I'm not here for you to do business. And I get it that you have all these things going on with you and that's great. And there's a process of recreation, recommunication, and acknowledging that individual, where I was acknowledging this person saying, okay, great. You've got your coach going on. You're doing great. All these things to acknowledge that person. Within minutes, that person wanted to do business. How does that happen? How does that happen, right? To understand that there's a way, that there's some different techniques, that there's even the human acknowledgement. We don't get acknowledged enough. Okay, this is in my personal and professional experience. This is why a lot of our relationships fail, because there isn't that acknowledgement. We acknowledge the 3-year-old for anything that they're doing, even though they're sloppy. Lines are all over the place. They drew on the wall. There's so many things going on. And we're like, oh, great job. And that child continually gets to be acknowledged for any effort that they put forth, right?
Yeah.
When a child gets up and falls down, we know that even if they do it 1, 2, 3,000 times, that they're going to get it. And we continue to acknowledge every effort. Yet when older we get, the less acknowledgement that we get. And there's an impact in that. So who are we being in that moment? We can change. Every one of us can change the course of somebody's day. Not only that, the course of many people's day, right? Because the ripple of that impact into that, and who we are being, we can change in that moment. We can elevate our energy to really think that it's always the highest intention of the person versus their lowest intention. Like, people don't come around to be mean to us. Something's going on. Something's missing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have the ability to respond and to guide that conversation.
I love that topic so much, especially on a day like today, like acknowledging the opposition, acknowledging somebody who may be in a completely different energy mode than you, or completely different belief system than you, but understanding that at the end of the day, we all want the same things. We want to feel love, we want to give love, we want to raise our families, we want to be safe, like at the very core of it all, like we all want the same human things. How can we, and again, like it was beautiful this morning, whether you believe in those sentiments or not, it was a beautiful gesture to acknowledge an opposition, someone with completely different views, and put out good energy that could potentially have good ripple effects. And we may not know the outcome of what we do, and we cannot kind of strategize on what is this going to do down the line, but we can only control how we react to life, how we react to opposition, how we try to unite the efforts that we're all in this together. How do we move forward as a community, as a people, as a cause, as a species? How do we build better lives for ourselves? It always comes down to, how are we connecting with others, and how are we reacting to others, and how are we better understanding who we are at the core, and what we're capable of, and what we're able to control. Because I see a lot of people like, oh, that person does this and that. It's the ego is very wise to tell you that everyone is wrong and you are right. But when you're able to understand that the ego is at your dispense, you're able to say, well, hold on, let me question myself. Let me question my motives. Let me question my energy. Let me stop and take a step back and say, am I aligned with what I believe, or am I having a bad day, or am I hungry? Because we all know hunger.
I've been there quite a few times. Miss Hangry. I get that. And that's so important, Sandra, to take a look at. We all want the same thing, right? I haven't met somebody who says, I want the worst in life.
Yeah.
I haven't met somebody, right? Maybe they don't have money, but there's nobody in the world that I've ever met, and I've come across thousands and thousands of people that we all want the same thing. We want education. We want to further our families. We want to be able to take care of each other. We want to be able to be contributors into the world. And how do we stay in that space of acknowledging even other individuals who we think they're different? In reality, they're more similar than what we think, right? We've created some distinctions between us. How do we create more unity? How do we create more compassion and more empathy when we can be empathetic and say, I wonder what that person's going through. How can I acknowledge, how can I find a way to acknowledge this individual for their contributions? How do I find that? How do I be the person that contributes? Because even somebody that's not acknowledged, there's a ripple effect within the lack of acknowledgement that can really even tear an organization down. And I've seen this over and over again
Or
in
a country
business
down.
or
Yeah.
a country down, right? Because somebody wasn't acknowledged. And how do we take that acknowledgement to a completely different level and be compassionate, be empathetic, get into somebody's shoes? What is their life like? What does that look like? How can I be at that moment, and how can I be vulnerable enough to attempt to understand, right? How can I let even my own guard down? Because if I don't let my guard down, there's nothing to do, right? And
Yeah.
I see this in business a lot. As I've let my guard down and be empathetic and connecting with others and sharing myself from a place of vulnerability, people are like, I want more. Like, I want more. I want to do something with you. I want to connect with you. I want to have another conversation with you. And it's just something that could have taken a long time, and maybe I would say 70% of the time would have never happened at any level, is now happening 99.9% of the time. Why? Why? Right? It's our empathy. And that's what's missing in life. That's what's missing in our world. How about we be more empathetic, compassionate, forgiving? How about we be more grateful for anything and everything that we have in our world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that we are cutting short. We just have a minute left before we both have to be allocated to different things. Rocio, like, if you don't know her story, please pick up her book. Her story is really epitomizes being grateful despite the circumstances that we have around us. She is a beautiful human being. Rocio, tell us about your book. How can people purchase it? And tell us more about how they can connect with you.
Most definitely. The name of the book is Ripple Effects, and anyone can call me at 303-587-8367. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of those platforms. And like I said, the book is in pre-sales right now. We will be releasing it in late March. We're really excited to be able to help people create the life that they love and desire. That's the most important thing in all of our work.
I love it. Thank you so much for being on Women Wednesday. It was a pleasure highlighting you and just having this conversation on this day. How impactful is what our efforts are, positive, negative, the energy that we give off has a ripple effect on our humanity. How are you tapping into or fully understanding or fully taking control of, despite circumstances in your life, taking control of your own energy and being responsible for the energy that you bring into each room every single day, and receiving energy, and how do you collaborate and create unity with other energies that may be having a bad day. We're so quick to judge individuals, but our ripple effect is the legacy that we leave behind, is the kindness, it's the love, it's the understanding despite differences. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Rocio, thank you so much for being on this episode. I truly appreciate you and your energy and all the good work and beautiful work that you are doing. So I am grateful for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Always an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much for who you are to this world.
Yay. Thank you guys. And catch us next time. This is the second time or the third time, but it's not the last time. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And if you want to connect with us on United Latinas, please follow our company page on LinkedIn or follow our pages on Facebook or YouTube, and feel free to reach out to me and send me a DM. I will be happy to connect, but let's spread the ripple effect of kindness and manifesting goodness and creating a life that we will all be proud of once we pass. So thank you again, Rocio.
Thank you. Such a pleasure.